guess I'll just wait till you get home.
Alright everyone, welcome back to Joe Man's Land. I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome back to another video where we'll look at some gear. But this camera is from a few years back, so let's get into what we're going to be reviewing in this video. Today's camera is going to be the Nikon D7200, which originally came out in 2015. This 24 megapixel crop sensor camera was definitely a very popular camera for a long time, being the successor to the D7100. But before we do anything else, we should probably do a video test. One of my big things I love doing on this channel, as you all know, is videography. So one of the things I always ask myself when I'm getting a camera is, can it do photo and video well? I don't have capacity to carry around two camera bodies. So this camera does shoot DX, meaning it's a crop sensor, and it can shoot up to 1080, 60 frames actually it looks like, but this one doesn't have the newest firmware, so it can only do 1080 up to 24. So before we do anything else, let's switch to that now for a talking head sample. And just for parity, we will be using the lens I'm using right now. We'll be using the 17-35 f2.8 GED lens with a variable ND on the front, as well as the same Deity D3 Pro you're hearing me through. The lens that comes with this camera for a lot of people's kits is great. It's a zoom lens going 18 to 140 with a variable aperture of 3.5 to 4.5. We'll do lots of samples with that, but I just thought for the talking head bit, let's just use the same lens. Alright, so now you're seeing me through that old camera. We were shooting at 17 millimeters on a crop body, so it's probably closer to around, I don't know, this number. I'm not good at math. So this is what it looks like. It's on a tripod. We're at f4. We got the variable ND. Again, the 17-35 is completely wide as it can go at 17. I think it looks not bad. In terms of the picture profile, it's the same as the Z6. I'm shooting in portrait. Now let's try walking around and doing a walking, talking vlogging test. Let's see what that looks like. Man, so autofocusing this is not super easy when vlogging, but this is what it looks like. I hope it looks good. I'm just gonna keep testing the focus areas and hopefully we hit something that looks good. Form factor seems very similar to the Z6. Honestly, once you put heavier, older glass like I use on my Z6, it's I mean, it's heavy, right? But that's not any different. The body feels good in the hand. I'm not using anything to really stabilize it right now. It is literally just my hand arm's length away, and we're shooting at 17 mils, and I'm sure I am not in focus, but that's another thing as well. I think once you learn how to use a camera properly, you get the autofocus under control. I don't know how to get rid of the center weighted autofocus on this, just to have like an autofocus area like that's a bit wider, and it seems to keep favoring one side. But I hope this looked good. Now let's do some video samples, and then let's get to some stills. Oh man, that was a ton of fun shooting with this camera. Let's just get a little closer here to the Z6. Overall, definitely really liked this camera. I think it's still pretty fun to shoot with. Definitely had some issues with the autofocus, especially with video. And actually, speaking of video, not being able to use the optical viewfinder to shoot video is definitely something that would deter me from using this for a video camera. You have to put it into live view on the back here, and it's not terrible, but because the screen doesn't articulate and it's not very bright, it's kind of hard to see if you're shooting in sunny conditions like I am. Now, in terms of it being a photo camera, I think it's still great. I think the files look really clean. I did some edits on some files earlier. Really liked how they looked, so I wouldn't say there were any issues there. I had a ton of fun using my Tamron 90mm 2.8 macro lens with it. It autofocused not bad on it. You know, when you threw it into auto mode, it did use the full viewfinder for autofocusing, and also as well, when I used the optical viewfinder, the autofocus was a lot better and snappy than when I used the back LED screen. But folks, that's enough from me. I know that lots of you have lots of experience using this camera, more than I do. I've only used the 7200 for a day. I shot extensively with its predecessor, the 7100. And there definitely are some new features on this camera that, you know, I would have to play with it for a long time to know about and to use. So in the comments below, let me know whether you think this camera is a Goldie or a dud. Maybe you've used it for years, and maybe you've got some insights on how we can maximize its usage in 2023 and forwards. But let's wrap this one here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and remember to take beautiful photos every single day. Don't do it for the views, do it for yourself, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.